Edoardo, eccomi, ciao! Oggi abbiamo un ospite meraviglioso, Jason Morningstar, un attimo di emozione. E da qui in poi parto con il mio inglese molto funky, quindi abbiate pazienza. And hello to everyone. Yeah, here we have our lovely guest. He's Jason Morningstar. And introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Jason Morningstar. I am the creative director at Pulpit Games. I'm a game designer. I work in tabletop role-playing games and live-action role-playing games.
So many things.
And I've said that a lot over the last few days because we just finished with Play in Bologna.
Yeah, exactly. You have said the magical word. I don't know that you work even on live-action role-playing games.
I do. Yeah,
really?
yeah. I make a lot of LARPs.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Could you say something about that?
Yeah, I love LARP. I think that it's a wonderful form for getting at what we love about role-playing.
Yeah.
Because when you're LARPing, you're embodying your character completely, and I find that fun to play, and I love to design for.
What do you want to tell us? One of the last LARP that you designed. I'm a LARP. My colleague over here is a LARP. No, you can LARP. You can?
No, that's good.
I'm really happy. In reality, I'm extremely, I don't know, emotional that you do that because I'm a LARP. I don't know before asking the first question that you do that. So
I didn't know that you LARP. That's great.
Yes, all of us is LARPing.
All right.
Okay.
So LARP is a big world.
Okay.
There's many different ways to LARP, and the way that the design space that I'm most interested in is we call it in the States, we call it parlor LARP.
Okay.
So a small group of people, maybe between 4 and 8 people,
okay,
in a single location in a single evening.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing mostly.
Mainly we call them chamber LARP.
Chamber LARP. Yeah. Same kind of thing.
Okay,
exactly.
Perfect. I've done a couple of them in a couple of events that happens all around Italy. Chalkas League. Is a famous association about that. And the LARPing scene where you are in probably can give me the hook to grab a point that I'm really interested in.
Okay.
One of your game has been for me mind-blowing. Okay, it was the skeletons.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Yes, that's why. I have played the game. Okay, a whole of time I've run the game with some small modifier. Instead of turning off the light, we just cover all the players with an extremely big black blanket.
That's such a good idea.
To give the idea of the time that's passing by with the music below. Alarm. There is something about. So the idea of the skeletons, old edition, the English one from Pulpit. I will probably misspell it a lot of time.
Don't worry.
Could you say it again?
Pulpit.
Pulpit. It's a mess, but okay. I have a smaller one version with a really lovely graphic cover, and in the skeletons you have this moment between the waking up moment of the skeletons on the defense of the...
Well, you play skeletons guarding a tomb.
Yes.
Right? That's an important point.
Maybe it's better if you also talk about that.
So do you want me to explain the skeletons?
Yes.
Okay. So the skeletons is mostly a tabletop role-playing game. It's for 4 to 6 players, 3 to 6 maybe, it's a tabletop role-playing game. Play with as many or as few people as you like. The idea is that everyone plays a skeleton that is guarding a tomb. So you're magically animated skeletons. And the only time you are aware or awake is when the tomb is being violated. So you have to wake up and fight and protect the tomb from whoever might be attacking it. And while that's happening, you remember a little bit about who you were before you became a skeleton. And when that's not happening, you just return to a magical slumber. And in the game, the magical slumber is the fun part. Do you want to explain how that works?
Sure. When you go to slumber, okay, every player have to close his eyes and just stay silent for some times. The times is partially randomic and increase between the different part of the game. We can reach a really long amount of completely stillness and in facto sensorial deprivation. That's an amazing idea because let the player have a moment with their own feelings, and in this meditation moment, you can think about your character and feel what it means to just stand still. Okay, so bring the action of the character into the action of the player. That's why it's a little bit of lie.
Yeah,
okay?
very much so. Very much so. As a player, you're embodying the action of your character, and instead of sleeping for 1,000 years, you're staying perfectly still in darkness for 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
5 minutes.
And 5 minutes is a long time.
It's a long time. It's really a long time.
It starts at, I believe, 15 seconds.
Yes.
And then by the end, it's 1,000 years, and it's just it's such a long amount of time.
I love it.
Yeah, me too.
I love it. It was even a really strong moment, exactly, because when I've tried it and when I have run it as a facilitator, I struggle best with my English.
Your English is great.
Thank you. Well, it happens to have some players just stand still for 5 minutes, and as I said, 5 minutes is extremely long time. But now we're moving to another game.
Okay.
When this year, Michele is down here. Okay. Hey, hi, Michele. Michele is the editor of Narrativa. Bring a game that for us it's extremely important. It was Fiasco. I was extremely happy about that. That's Fiasco. That's a new production of Fiasco. Okay. Fiasco is a turning point in a lot of RPG scene, as you can figure out. I use it as an example when I'm trying to explain the past of the TTRPG scene and the the now. Okay, there's a lot of game that just grab some idea of Fiasco and not even grab the idea. It's been influenced by the experience in Fiasco and bring this experience in new kind of game. Now in the zine scene, when you have plenty of authors that making small things extremely fast and rapid, Fiasco is almost in the top 5, top 10 games that inspired this creation was Fiasco. So, a different question. When Fiasco came out? How?
Oh, yeah,
How?
I can explain. So, Fiasco was first published in 2009, and I found myself a lot at conventions or gatherings where I had about 2 hours where I could be playing a game, but I didn't have any games that lasted just 2 hours. So I said, I'm going to make a game that's 2 hours long, that it doesn't require any preparation, that's very easy to play, it's very easy to understand, it's fun, and it will fill that time slot.
Okay.
And all of my decisions making the game returned to those boundaries. It had to be within that box, or I had to throw the idea away.
Okay.
And the result was Fiasco.
You have said probably one of the main point of my idea of creativity. Okay, that's the blank page is a killer. And you need boundaries to create something. Okay, I was thinking that Fiasco came out from completely different boundaries. Not that. Okay, I was thinking that you are just trying to look outside of the classic old school scene, but you came out in another completely different ways. Have you done any other kind of game that's a strange question that could be I know on your long experience of designer? There is sometimes other boundaries that inspire you some other games.
Yeah. I feel like every game I make, it often starts with a question about how we play games.
Okay.
What if we made a game that did things differently? And often that is very inspirational to me.
Okay.
So, for example, I have a small game called A Green and Narrow Bed. And in A Green and Narrow Bed, every player gets exactly one scene, and they get to make one decision. Because it arose from a question in my head: why are games structured the way they are, and why do we have as much choice as we have? What if you made a game where it was structured differently and you had fewer choices? What if you only had one choice? What would that look like? And so, like, that's an example of thinking about structure and then building within that.
Okay, it's not important so to think into the box, but to have a box to work around or inside that.
Yeah, another example, my game Desperation.
Desperation, lovely.
Thank you.
We got it and sell it. Sorry, no more.
I wish you had more.
It was the game came out in a couple, right? Desperation with another games, right?
Yes, well, Desperation's sort of the engine, and then we sold it with two independent games, Dead House and the Isabel. Which
exactly, that's one.
But the question for that game was, what if we knew what characters were saying, but we didn't know who was saying it? So in Desperation, it's normally you have a character, and the character says something, and they're connected, and you have agency and control over that. In Desperation, you have some words that somebody is going to say, but you don't know who says them.
Okay.
And the fun of the game is that the things on the cards that you know someone is saying are terrible.
Okay.
They're things like, I killed my neighbor, I burned down the apple orchard. And they're telling a story about desperation, but you don't. The card doesn't tell you who says those things. You have a whole cast of characters, and any of them could be the one saying that. And so my question was, what happens when you turn that around? And the result is a game that I think is really interesting.
Really?
And that...
so you know where the story will go? You know which kind of problem names you have to swallow, but you don't know who will say them, right?
That's right.
Okay, so the agenda of the players is a little bit different.
Yes, it is. And I don't want to get too weird in this interview, but the fact is, you do know. You know, because as human beings, we always try to match patterns. It's part of the way our brains are built. And if there's no pattern to match, like in this case, there's nothing connecting the words to the characters, but in our brains we make that happen, and that's a phenomenon called apophenia. Apophenia. And it feels like magic. What'll happen is you'll draw a card and it'll say, I burned down the apple orchard. And you'll look at the available characters and you will know.
Okay.
You'll know who did it. And it's not a question, it feels like magic. Because our brains make those patterns and connections, and it's really fun. That's I'm hijacking your consciousness when you play Desperation, and you don't even know it.
And that's real, because now I think about that, it's real that any kind of player just already put the line between the dots.
Yes.
Okay, and one of the famous golden rule of the games not the most modern, but a lot of games just telling you when you play storytelling games that it's not important to try to have the most fancy idea, but just the simplest one. Because if you just step in the simplest, anyone can follow up the thread that you are lying down.
Yes.
And probably there is something of this magic that happens even in these simple rules.
I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so this is a 5 minutes lesson on how to be great, has it?
We could have been completely silent, and 1,000 years would have passed.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad we weren't, because I'm having the best time in Florence at Stratagemma.
Thank you.
We're having a good time today.
Thank you so much. So, see you. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Ciao. Ciao.